Oh, come on. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. I want that one.
Good job.
I know, I'm on a roll today.
Oh, shit, let me mute.
I need to screen share, too. I'm not doing very good. All right, what's up, everybody? How's it going? It's an off night. It is what it is. Seems like I haven't streamed in forever, actually, like streamed. So,
it has been a good few weeks.
It has been. I haven't been doing much of this streaming. I've been doing a lot of video game streaming, but not streaming.
True enough.
But how's everybody doing tonight? We got dog in the house. That's about it right now. It's good. I'm good with it. So we're here to talk about basically the last few chapters of The Land Part 2, Book 2, The Forging, which, as far as Aileron goes, is probably... he keeps a pretty good rhythm of how he writes his books. So I have I can't say which book would be my favorite and which would be my least. They're all really good in their own standards. Like, I'm good with all of them, but
I do concur. They're all packed with the right amount of adventure, action, and just exposition plot to keep everything gelled together. It's done very well.
So we went through, and the second book is basically him unlocking some powers, building the Mist Village. He gets Alma his dragonling, and then he decides he wants to go on a they fight the bugbears off. I forgot about that, because after he gets Alma, he ends up dropping the defenses of the Mist Village, which ends up letting the bugbears through.
Because he was an idiot.
Yeah. But, and that's a great thing to do. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want a fucking familiar? I would.
Yeah, but he could have waited. He could have waited.
True. But, so he gets Alma. They get the bugbears. He figures out Alma's a very good ally to have. And then, hey, what's up? Welcome. Yes, we're going to start. That's where we're going to start. I'm just giving a brief overview of what happens in book 2. Nothing real spectacular, just getting some bacon stops. But once that happens, he decides he wants to go into a dungeon. And upon the dungeon, it basically starts out real fucking bad. I mean, he hits a button, they drop into a hole. They try to figure out, they can't get out how to get out of there, so they end up, guess we got to go through the fucking dungeon.
Do you know why that happens? Do y'all want to know why? Because Richter can't stop touching shit.
He's as bad as Jorah. He's always touching shit. So they drop into the dungeon. What are they called? Skeeters? They're called Skeeters, right?
Isn't it the Eaters?
Eaters. That's what they're. Eaters.
Small faction of the Eaters that they ran into.
Yeah. So what these Eaters are is they're basically the plague on the forest. They destroy forests, and they're only alive for like a year. But in that year, they do tremendous amount of damage.
They're like locusts.
Yeah.
Times 100.
They try to rush through the dungeon to get out, which doesn't really work because they run into a bunch of traps. They run into a bunch of enemies. And where this picks up is on chapter 23. This is basically kind of where we ended off on the last review. They end up killing a crypt mistress and the 4 downers. And he leaves the dagger in the crypt mistress's mouth and ends up going to check on people just to see how they're doing. And they're all pretty much had their ass kind of handed to them. Danielle's got Sion's cradling Danielle's head in his lap. Yoshi's out cold. Like, they got their ass handed to him.
You know it's some shit when Yoshi is laid out cold.
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. But the cool thing is upon killing this crypt mistress, he has to do this quick little quest, and the quick little quest is, the quest is called "When Good Men Do Nothing," and he goes, "The dower you have defeated were all honorable men and have fought for their people a millennia ago. You have freed them from the demonic control. And to claim your reward, you must place the remainings of their former queen in the middle of the sarcophagus. Locate the remains located on your map." And so Richter runs around and ends up finding all the parts, puts the queen together. Does this book have romance? We'll get to that eventually. So he does that.
Hold on, real quick. I don't know if you want to say romance per se, but
yeah, it's not really. He's
Richter is a ladies' man, and
he gets around.
He's very simple ladies' man, and that's a good thing. I like his style, but with chicks there be drama, so sometimes there's a bit of drama. We'll say that.
Richter gets himself in trouble on feast nights.
It's because, one, he drank too much, and again, he can't stop touching shit.
And don't drink the goat banger. Bad.
Okay, continue.
So he ends up laying the parts, the queen's remains together, and he opens a portal. In this portal comes this beautiful lady carrying a white sword with black etchings on it, and ends up driving it into the crypt mistress and ends up catching her on fire. But in process, he ends up getting a boon, and he goes through all of these quick little boons, and the one he ends up picking is portal creation. So basically he can create a portal here, create a portal over here, and then he can quick travel. Basically is what he's making, is quick travel for himself in a video game. AK, you want to elaborate on that?
That's it. Where are we at with the Tephanim?
Yeah, building the portal.
Yes. So Richter he's had a goal from the first book, actually, of building a portal, but he needs, the specific plans to build that portal and the specific materials. And also, when you're building portals, it has a pretty high degree of physics that is involved with that. So he also has, he's a smart kid. He can figure it out, but he still needs the lessons to be taught to him. And he has not figured out how to do that as of yet. But now, with this quest that he just completed, the boon that he gets from the Tephanim Queen is she offers him the choice of learning a skill from either her or any of the warriors that whose souls that he just helped free. I think there's about 6 or 7 of them.
There's 8 of them because there's 9 total.
That's right, 9 total, yes. So he basically shakes each one's hand, and that allows him to see what skills they all have. And I really, really wish that I could get a history on the Tephanim or just a book about them, because they have very eclectic tastes in the way their skills are matched up.
The one guy he was a badass with a staff, but he was also and
an excellent cook.
Yeah.
Like his skills cooking were almost as high as his skills in battle. And that's some shit that I would do. So I very much appreciate someone that takes a little bit of everything and mashes them into their skill set.
It was cool.
So the
what was it? One of them was like a shield master and an arms master, but he also could play like the loot.
What it was the loot, and then another one that also had, I think he was a great spearman, but then he could also knit really well. He was making tapestries and for skewing motherfuckers on the battlefield if he had to. The Tephanim people are just awesome. Hopefully we get some side books from Alaron sometime about these people, because I would really love to know more about them. And they're are old. They're I want to say they might be even older or as old as the Banished Gods.
Yeah, they're around that. They seem to be around that time
Dark
frame.
Court. They're either as old as them or they're a bit older. from the gist that I got. So all that knowledge,
they're right around there.
all of that knowledge is impacted in these awesome people, and I really want to know about them.
And like Dog said, cooking is so underrated. It is.
It very much is.
I can't remember what fucking game it was. It was on PS3. Huge open world game. And you had to be able to cook. Like, if you didn't know how to cook, your guy died.
You're going to die,
you got
right?
scrawny, you got diseases, and you died. Like, and I can't remember what game it was. A buddy of mine had it. And I always thought that was an interesting concept because a lot of them don't do that.
Yeah, you got to look out for the little things too.
Yeah,
it also makes the game challenging.
Well, you think about Red Dead Redemption, little eat too much kind of thing.
I didn't go through and play the whole thing of Red Dead Redemption, but the basic concept of the game, spectacular, and I hope they
I love
another one.
I love it. Anyway, back to where we're at. So yeah, the
Tephanim Queens, the boons that Richter ultimately ends up going to. He actually saves the queen's skills for last. And he goes through and he's basically reading off her list of being a badass at like 20 different things. And he goes, portal construction and wait, hold the phone. Portal construction. And that's when Richter automatically takes that. And I don't blame him because Richter, again, he has been very, very, very lucky in the things he's been able to come up on in this game. Learning portal construction is a hard skill, and it's one that would take a long, long time to actually build up to the level that the queen has. Richter gets to learn all of that in about 2 seconds once he shakes her hand after choosing that skill.
Yeah, and he literally jumps. Let's hear. You've reached.
He goes up like 3 or 4 levels just from that.
Create multiple portals laying on the same type of ley lines. And level 17.
And with how many magical ley lines are in his village alone,
all of them.
Exactly. He can have it. I mean, once he gains the materials to do it, he can have portals set right along the magical ley lines, which makes them even more powerful, which means that will give him even better control over them. It's seriously, this kid's freaking lucky.
Yeah. Richter does live in the game. He actually, you'll figure that when you go back up and listen to book 1. So
I will send you book 1 tomorrow, Tawny. If I forget, email me and remind me.
So he gets that boon. And then it's, they find a key that goes into the device. And this is where we ended off last time. And, well, first all of them get cankerous rot. And this actually becomes funny later on in the story. So basically all 4 of them are diseased. But he finds this key that goes into the slot, so he ends up opening a slot. And this is where the tunnel comes in, where Scion has to face his biggest enemy in himself. Literally his biggest enemy. And he has to do it numerous fucking times. And it towards the end, you really, really, really feel bad for the guy. Like, you start to feel fucking horrible.
See, I'm still on the fence almost in my feelings about Scion. Like, in my notes, when I went through that whole part, one of the first things I said was, in the beginning, I had issues with Scion. After this, I had more issues with Scion because I get it. Okay, yeah, you're young. You're basically the prince of your people. Your mom's the head honcho. You want to make a name for yourself and whatnots. However, homeboy, you're young. You are not a part of any hunting brigade. You are not a part of even any of the patrols that are going around. What are you doing going after a species that you really don't know anything about? And then see something else that made me even more mad, and I didn't notice it until listening to it again this time, is Kyrian wanted to go back and get one of the patrols. Scion was like, no, there's not going to be enough time. And what happened? One of the patrols ended up finding them anyways. And that is the only reason Scion is even alive. You and Kyrian could have got out of there.
Yeah. And you see,
Scion
like,
is a headstrong boy.
Yeah. And you see as he progresses, like the first see-through, he just kind of basically runs through it. And he tries to persuade Kyrian not to go with him, but it doesn't work, so they go through it all. And what happens is they're going to find humans that are in the forest, and they've captured a bunch of creatures out of the forest, and they decide they need to save them. And that's what ends up getting them killed. Is one of them's arachnid, and it ends up biting Kyrian, I think, or it ends up spraying something at Kyrian, but it ends up knocking him out. And so they end up both getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole sequence, Kyrian ends up dying. And then the patrol comes through and saves Scion. And this literally continuously happens
4 times.
4 times?
4 times he has to go through this. And it is heartbreaking, but it's not that the magic of the riddle that he needs to answer is torturing him. He needed to move past this situation with Kyrian.
He basically, in the very last one, because he's like, I killed him, and then the voice goes, why did Kyrian die? And then the very last one, he tries really hard to persuade Kyrian not to come. And in the end, Kyrian's like, no, I'm going with you. Like, I'm going.
That was our oath.
Yeah.
Basically, they were Will Smith and Martin, bad boys for life.
Yeah.
So basically, one goes, the other go.
Scion ends up learning in his mind and finally clicking in his mind that he wasn't the cause of Kyrian's death. Kyrian was the cause of Kyrian's death. No matter what Scion would have said, no matter what Scion would have done, the only reason Kyrian wouldn't have gone is if Scion wouldn't have gone.
Yep.
Is the only way it would have changed.
That was a specific oath that they made. A blood oath that they made under the heart tree, which I think they made when they were maybe the human equivalent of being 11 or 12, and their moms beat their ass behind it because you do not make blood oaths around a super magical tree like the hearth tree when you are that age, because you don't really know what it means. But this is why they ended up going on this quest. And Scion, book 1, my issue with Scion was he basically let Richter get eaten alive by wolves when he was tasked with helping him with the quest. And he had this great dislike of humans because of what happened with that session with him and Kyrian when they were young men. And I understand, you hated how your boy died, but that had nothing to do with Richter, bro. I need you to be a little more focused on, just being a good being. And I can't say being a good human. He's not human, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Like, you can't
being a good little sprite.
You can't take your issues on with a few people that wronged you in your past out on a whole other species. Like, come on, man. It's just not cool.
Oh, it's not. But that's one thing that, like I said, Aileron's really good at bringing forth is ignorance and hatred. He does that really well. Like, oh, you hate this person because they're a certain race. Why?
Exactly.
Why?
Look at who his best friend is now.
Yeah, exactly. So he finally recognizes why Kyrian died, and he gets another key. And at this point in time, Yoshi's awake, Daniela's awake, Richter's freaking the fuck out. Yeah. And every time Richter tries to climb into the hole closes in. It won't let him in there.
Yeah, I think it was Milt just for Scion.
Yeah. Scion was the only one that could do it, and he had to do it. And so when he gets it done, he gets out of there, and then he goes, well, there's one more key we're missing. And Scion goes, well, here you go. I've got it. Yes, Richter is human. He gets the key and he ends up opening a chest or opening up another door. When he opens up the other door, hold on, I'll tell you, he gets a bunch of shit, but what he's mainly after is opening the other power to his ley line, to his village, and I think it's death magic he ends up opening.
Is it his death magic?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
I can't remember which one it was, but I don't think it was his death magic one.
Air magic. Oh, no, he already opened air magic. Your option is life, dark, or water. Oh, that's right. He took life.
That's right. Yeah. Because that life dagger is what helped him kill the crit mistress. Yeah, so he ends up taking life magic. But the thing is every time he unlocks a power, it ends up boosting beasts, like the beasts that roam around the village and around in the woods and everything like that. It ends up making them a lot more powerful and a lot more potent and a lot more of them. As you get stronger, everything around you, and if you have a place of power, gets stronger, and that includes the monsters, unfortunately. Mm-hmm.
And it ends up kicking him in the ass, but we'll get to that in a second. So once they do that, you guys Futon lead them they get out of the dungeon finally, and they're way off in the distance. But they end up actually getting ambushed by their own people.
Mm-hmm. Actually, wait, you skipped the fun part.
Oh, go ahead.
Once they got to the door and, they were all happy about getting out because they wanted to see the sun in the sky again. So they rush out the door and it's dark and raining. And Richter just looks up at the sky like, universe, you're a dick. Small little part, but those tiny little jokes like that make add to the story. But did we also say about the what did he take out of there with him?
A magical core.
Yeah, he got another magical core. And another magical cores for you guys that are just now tuning into us talking about the land. These are very, very, very powerful items. Like a magical core is basically you take that and then you mix it with perhaps a type of metal, depending on what building you're going to be using the core with. And it has the potential of giving you something that isn't even available on your plane of existence. Like, it's that powerful. It's the magical items that Richter gets. Again, he's a lucky boy. And he ends up...
Somebody is watching him.
Someone is watching him. And he actually did think about that before he left the crypt. He realizes after he gets the ability to make portals that he is lucky on where he landed for having the hidden glade and having Xerxes there to tell him about everything that was going on. And he's wondering already what exactly is he going to have to pay this bill that for all this stuff that he's been given, and who is the person he's going to have to pay. So it's interesting. He's not too worried about it, but it's still in the back of his head. So it shows you that he's not just in here playing around. He's actually thinking about the real world consequences of everything that's happening.
Yeah, because when he first came to land, he was pretty ignorant.
Yeah.
And you'll learn that, Tony, after getting through book one. You'll learn that.
Sorry. Slight spoilers for you here for book one.
Yeah, he's quite ignorant, but it's all good. I've listened to this book series numerous times. It's freaking excellent. It's so much fun. Alaron Kong, the one thing I will say about his writing style, it's fun. It really is. Mm-hmm. You're intrigued on the characters and what's going to happen next. He has a really smart-ass mouth personality-wise, and all of his characters carry that. All of them. And
he's a black kid from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And every bit of dialogue that comes out of his mouth speaks on that.
Yeah.
So I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you can thank me for finding this book series, Tony. Because I found it. Anyway, and then I got everybody else hooked. I'm good at that, by the way.
Pretty much.
But so they get out and they end up getting ambushed by their own guys. But one of the guys flies out of a tree and well, breaks his leg.
Yeah.
So Richter and what I'm talking about is Futon. Futon is a little glowing ball. It's all he is, just a little glowing ball, like a computer, basically. And he gets Futon. He goes, "Hey, get out in front of us quite a ways." And then when I tell you to light up, like light up. So as they're walking, he's kind of got him dim so they can see where they're going. And then he sees other people coming from the village, so he brightens the light. And he brightens the light, and then the guy goes, "Who is it?" And he goes, "Hey, it's Lord Richter, it's Scion, it's Daniela, and we need help." And so they end up getting back to the village, and the first person they meet is Sumiko.
Sumiko, I believe.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Sumiko or Hisako?
No, it's Sumiko. It's both of them. Wait, no, they're both waiting outside the walls.
Okay. Yeah.
So when this is the greatest part of all of it. So when Richter tells them that they saw a crypt mistress and he is diseased, the first thing out of Sumiko's mouth is, "Well, if you lay with dogs, you're gonna get fleas."
And Richter tries to explain, and she's like, "No. I don't need to know about your, extra activities, young man. Let me just go ahead and heal y'all, and I'll go about my business." And she's totally just messing with him. She knows he didn't sleep with a freaking crypt mistress, but she likes to poke fun at the new human in the land. They're all developing very good, strong friendships in these first couple of books. So it's really nice to see them interact like this with each other.
It was good. That was the part that cracked me up. You lay with dogs, you're gonna get fleas, and that's that happens.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
She's not even close. So if you want to go and past that, we're almost to the end of it.
We are pretty much at the end, actually. From here is where they get healed. Everyone, they've been down in those dungeons for a few days. Oh, that's actually something we forgot to touch on. Scion, once he actually figured out the whole thing with his memories on Curian and he came back, 3 days had passed that he kept going through that cycle. So 3 days for just that one little bit. And then I think another 2 or 3 days also since they first got in there, and they're just now getting back to the village. So it's been a while. They all need some rest. Everyone gets healed. They disperse to go, find a place to lay their head. Richter goes to find his hand in Randolphus.
The reason he has to go find Randolphus is because the bugbears are setting up camp and he needs aid. And the aid he's going to go after is dwarves, and he is told he has to buy the dwarves, and he goes, "Why does it always come to money?" He goes, "Never mind.
No.
Why does it always come down to my money?"
and remember, it's not just the bugbears now. It's also the eaters, because the eaters, they are on a strict cycle. It's just how their species is. They're not supposed to be here right now. So
like another 60 years or something.
Yeah, the fact that they are is what makes Hisako goes, "No, we need to handle all of this right now." She sends out messengers to the elves that she has had a repertoire with, and she tasks Richter with getting to the dwarves, because you need all hands on deck, as many as possible. And even if they were enemies at any point in time, the eaters are a big enough deal to where you can set all that aside and come smash this problem and then go back to being enemies later, because the eaters will fuck up everything.
Oh yeah.
So Richter goes and talks to Randolphus, and he goes through just a quick summary of everything that happened. I think he tells him about the core, or they briefly touch on it, and we are basically at the end. He's about to go lay down, but first Randolphus says, "Okay, some of these things can wait, but we do need to figure out what to do with the prisoners. We can't keep them for day to day indefinitely." And Richter's like, What prisoners? Mind you, he's been gone for a week. There were no prisoners when he left. So, yeah, kid doesn't know what's going on right now. And that is how we end our tale of book 2.
Yeah. And I will say this, book 3, I feel sorry for Richter in book 3. I'm just going to...
Oof.
I feel
no
really,
spoilers.
Really... No, I'm not...
Oof.
I'm just going to say... I'm just going to say that poor man. And his revenge is well deserved.
Oh, it should have been worse. It should have. I don't even have one of those things, but if it was me, she would have gotten a whole lot worse than she did, boy. And that's all.
So we'll get into
mouth zipped.
Yeah. We can't get into that till we get into book 3.
That's a huge spoiler.
And we will give you time.
There are about 7 books right now. Book 8 just came out. Book 8 just came out at the beginning of the year, actually. But we'll give you time to at least catch up with book 1 and book 3, because it'll probably be another couple months before we tackle book 3. Because we always got to make sure our times are set up. You know, real life unfortunately does not stop for the streams.
No, it kind of interrupts them.
Yeah. Frequently. So overall, like I said earlier, I love Aleron's writing style. He makes it fun. It's just a lot of fun. And he actually has a new series coming out. It's called God's Eye Awakening is the first book coming out. So I'm really, really intrigued on what he's going to do there. I guess some people that went to the Mist Village Con or whatever you want to call it. There is a con?
And now I guess there is.
Where?
I just saw it the other day. It was in, I want to say Washington, something like that. But Aleron was there. And Aleron, he gave them and read them this book.
Oh, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
I'm mad that wasn't advertised more. I might have tried to make it there. Was it Washington State or Washington, D.C.?
State.
Okay, never mind. I wouldn't have made it. Never mind.
Yeah, it was Washington State. But from what I heard, it was from what I've seen on some posts, because I didn't even know it was gone, and all of a sudden people are posting pictures with freaking Aleron Kong out in the fucking woods and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck?
and that's one thing I can say from personal experience. It's very rare I can say anything on personal experience with an author. He is a very personable guy.
Yes.
He is a very personable guy. I'm still very proud of the Miss Village t-shirt that I have. And I only have that shirt because he happened to find me, JD, and Lav's discussion of book 1 on YouTube. And he hit up Justin and was like, hey, y'all want some free t-shirts? Thanks for talking about the land for a good 2 hours.
Yep.
And I was like, yes, please, sir. You can send it right here. Yeah, he really is a good dude. So the way he writes, I think, is really just the way that he sees the world, and he has put it all into this awesome fantasy adventure. Well, I'm digging. That's,
lately, Sam has been asking me some advice on writing and shit, and the main thing I tell her is you can't force it. For one,
no,
you can't.
You
can't do that. If you force it. It doesn't work. You guys sit there, well, how do you get, almost a full chapter done in a couple of days or a week or whatever? Well, one, I have the time, but two, I'm not sitting there writing 24/7. Like I'll pick up, I have a Word document on my phone. I'll pick it up. I'll write a paragraph. I put my phone down for like the next 2-3 days. Yeah. And sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes I'll write a whole freaking page. It just depends on the day, the mood, and how everything's flowing, how your mind is working. Sometimes it's real easy. Sometimes it's real bad. I mean, there's a reason it took me 2 years to finish Shadow of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
It doesn't just pop. Sometimes other things come into your mind. Like I am working on the sequel to Shadow of the Kingdom. Unfortunately, this story actually has blocked Shadow of the Kingdom and the Assassin. So the only way to get past it is to get this one out and then go on to these two.
And then go back. Yep.
It's just how my mind works. And my because that's editing for me. She's like, no, you got to get the second book down. I'm like, that's just not how my mind works. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work that way. That is
the exact same issues that I have. Sometimes I will write one paragraph a week. Other times, if I don't have a whole lot of time sensitive things to do at work, I'll get all that stuff done out the way. And at the end of 4 or 5 hours, I have a whole chapter written.
Yeah.
It's just how things flow sometimes, You cannot force it, though. If you try to, you won't get anything done.
You'll get writer's block for 1 or 2. It'll be crap.
Yep.
That's the one thing I noticed.
Neither one of those are good.
When I first started writing Shout of a Kingdom, I deleted lots of words, lots of paragraphs, lots of chapters.
Sometimes the direction of the story even changes.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say not the direction, but the way you want characters to get to a certain spot changes, because you'll think up something that's more interesting or just more fitting for those characters to go through. So you have to go back and revamp a few things. It's nothing that can be rushed, and you cannot try to force it. It's not going to give you a good story if you do.
And that's the one thing that I've seen with the fandom when it comes to people that follow that do the Mist Village stuff and all that. They're like, we need the next book. Yeah, Alaron has literally put out a book every year, or if not 2 books a year. The man has been a writing machine, but that doesn't mean at certain points in time it's going to just continue. It doesn't work that way. You look at George R. R. Martin. I mean, his books, the more he goes, the longer the stretch comes between books. Brandon Sanderson, you're waiting 2 to 3 years for his book. I mean, but the one thing I will say about Brandon is I'm waiting on Stormlight 4, but he also put 3 books out in between Oathbringer and his new one. So, I mean, it just depends on the author.
George put out fine waiting, because I know the more time you take, the better story
better it's going to be. Exactly.
I'm good on all of that.
Yeah,
me too. I want the next, book from Martin. Yeah, but I'm not going to rush that, man. You do you.
No,
I'll be here when you get it done.
So, I read an interview actually by George R. R. Martin, and they asked him about the ending of Game of Thrones and if it was going to be like his book, and he's like, yes, no, yes, no, and that's literally how it went for like 2 paragraphs. Yeah, no, yes, but no. Like, you freaking dick, but I get it. I do the same shit.
Yeah.
It was funny, but
Martin is like the biggest troll of his work, man.
Oh God, yeah, he is, and he's even said it. People have guessed the ending of his books.
Yeah.
Is he going to tell him what it is?
He's not going to tell him. Right. He's not going to say, yeah, you're right. That's exactly what's going to happen. No. And you know what? That's half the fun for us. At least it is for me, is theorizing and all the random things we come up with.
Holy shit. I'm so ready for Winds of Winter, though. I really am.
Indeed.
I can't wait.
Indeed.
I'm really ready for Winds of Winter, but he said August of this year. Fingers crossed.
Man, we gonna see.
But it was also supposed to be out before season 6, so there's that.
That's what I'm saying. I'll wait until I actually see it's out. Damn it. Audible is going to crash.
What?
When that book comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Just like when he finally decided to join Twitter. Twitter legit crashed for a few hours because so many people were trying to follow him at the same time.
Well, what the hell? What book did crash Audible? Was it The Land Book 7 that crashed Audible? Yeah, it was.
It was. I don't remember hearing about it. Did it?
Yeah, it did. I literally got it off a pre-order, and there was a lot of people on fan pages bitching that Audible wouldn't let them log in to get the book.
I believe it. It was a good book. 7, I think, was his longest, and man, yeah, there's a whole lot that goes on in that book.
The one thing I will say, and what I learned in one of he does Facebook lives. He said he does books in 7s, and that's why book 7 was so long.
Mm-hmm.
Book 8's only It ain't even half. I think it
It's
might
about
be.
the equivalent of book 1 or 2, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not even half as long as book 7 is. So
yeah,
and
that's
people ask
actually
him,
a really good thing about his series is his books are relatively short compared to other folks. They'll go through maybe 2 or 3 different adventures, and then we'll cut off until the next time.
Yep.
Book 7, though, that one was a magnificent plethora of things.
49 hours Audible, I think is what it was.
Yep.
That's going to be a long one to go through. I will say that as a review.
That's gonna take us a good 4 streams. It's gonna be fun. At the very least, it's gonna be 4 because there's a lot to cover in that book. But we'll do it. We'll get there eventually. Yeah. It probably isn't even going to be this year when we get to it. No. But we'll get there.
Book 8, we could probably do 1 or 2 because
book 8, yeah, that's about the standard size of his other books. I think each of the books, except for book 7, we can do within 2 streams.
Yeah.
But once we get there, y'all will see what we mean. Why? Or I encourage you to read ahead. Don't wait for us to put out the reviews. No. Go ahead and read all those things right now. Enjoy them.
enjoy it. Because it's a freaking awesome series. Awesome story. I like high fantasy. I like fantasy. I like high fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys, if you guys haven't told me, I read The Wheel of Time, Brandon Sanders's Stormlights, Song of Ice and Fire. I love fantasy, and you add just the video game element to it. And it's good. In Alaron, there's a reason they call him the father of American lit RPG. There is a reason for it. The one that I come close second with is Ascend Online by Luke Chilamenko. Can't say his name right now.
C.
Yeah, there you go. Chilamenko. Yeah, there you go. Luke Chilamenko.
Yeah, that's another good series too.
He's got 3 books out on it, and the second book is actually a side book.
Kind of a side piece, but the characters do tie into the main story eventually.
Yeah, and he does an excellent job writing it too. And it's a different style because the characters, the people can actually come out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making money streaming the video game.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool concept. I like that concept too. So the differences in between them, it's great.
Yeah, they're good. The only thing that I would say that I would want for that series that The Land has, it isn't really to do with the writing style. It's the sound effects. I appreciate the sound effects that are in The Land narration.
I do too.
I wish they had them in Luke's series as well. But
I think that was a thing that Alaron was able to pay for.
I can dig it. I'm glad he did because I'm happy to pay for it too.
All right, guys. AK, any last thoughts?
Go read these books. Don't wait for us to do the reviews. We're telling you right now, all of them are awesome. So go read them. So by the time we do get around to doing the rest of the reviews, you're already caught up.
Yep. Because I'll go back through it again eventually.
Yep.
I got a lot of books I got to finish. Like I'm on book 12 of The Wheel of Time, or book 13 of The Wheel of Time. So I'm almost done with The Wheel of Time.
With The Wheel of Time, so I can at least have a little bit of content in my head once the show starts, so I know what I'm looking at.
So I'm close to finishing that one, and I'm also reading the hard books. I have the Swordsman, the Sage, and the Sorceress that I just started, which is really good so far. I just started The Mark of Kings by Luke Chilamenko and another author that they did together. It's starting out really good so far. So, I mean, yeah, lots of books.
And it's narrated by Nick Podell as well, who is the young man that narrates The Land. So I'm going to get into that just because Nick Podell is narrating it.
Yeah, he's a hell of a narrator. And then I have Stormlight 4 comes out in November, and I've already got both the hard copy and Audible pre-ordered. So, I mean, I got lots of books to read. So, all right, guys. Until next time.
Shout out to everybody that was in the chat with us. Dog came in.
We appreciate it.
Moni. I believe I saw Chrissy dip her head in earlier. So thank you guys for coming to hang with us and go read these books.
We'll let you guys know when we're going to do book 3. So you guys have time to read up to that and then where we're going to do it. So All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.